Greetings, this is Signal Dodecahedron. I'm going to read this report. This is Courthouse, Roman cult bank temples. Statutes are bonds. Courtroom charges are civil, not criminal. Clerk's praxis was a court of arches under the king's bench. At the time of Edward I, as a court of probates, John Hall wrote this book. This was used in vice admiralty courts in the colonies in the American Revolution, and this is what caused the revolution. Everything involves bonds. When you're arrested, there are two different sets of bond. A bid bond is filled out when you're arrested. U.S. District Court uses forms, standard form 273, 274, and 275. There's another set of bonds. Both sets are put out by the GSA, General Services Administration. Standard Form 24 is the bid bond. The performance bond is Standard Form 25. The payment bond is Standard Form 25A. These are all put out by the GSA under the Comptroller of Currency, under the GAO, General Accounting Office. Standard Form 273, 274, and 275 are the bonds for the federal level courts to use. What are they doing with these bonds? In the courtroom, you're being sued for debt collection. It's an action in a subset. The word presume comes from a subset. I agree, I undertook to do. A subset means due. All these bonds have a penal sum attached to it. If you go into court, if you go into default judgment, you end up in prison wondering what is going on. If you argue jurisdiction or refuse to answer questions that the court is addressing you, you'll be in contempt of court and in jail. This goes back to Edward I's back. This is all civil and not criminal. It's a smokescreen to cover up what they're doing. They brought someone under an arrest bond. There was a civil suit. Clerk's praxis is Latin for practice. Praxis means practice. This book is an actual practice book that goes in everything Jack Smith teaches. Letter rogatories. You're held until the suit is complete. They get a default judgment for failure to pay a debt, and then you're put in prison. Attorneys are there as a smokescreen to cover up what is really done. They lead you into default judgment. By argument dishonor, you go to prison, and the default judgment is sold. U.S. District Court buys state court judgments. Type in U.S. Court in any search engine. After you get to the U.S. courts, there are 11 circuit courts of the U.S. listed. Click on Circuit 7, for example, and it takes you in all the list of courts. If you find Ohio, Illinois, find Circuit 7. For example, is Northern Illinois District Courts, Bankruptcy Courts, etc. Then you'll find a box that says Clerk's Praxis, Clerk's Office. Scroll down and you'll see administrative offices, and under that you'll see financial departments. It talks about the Criminal Justice Acts, optional bids. It's all spelled out. Go to list of sureties. Why would they have a list of sureties in a federal district court? You click on this, it takes you to www.fms.treasury.gov. This is the Department of Treasury. Then you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen, admitted and reinsured. Under that is a list of sureties. Under that, forms, and you click on admitted, reinsured. There are over 300 companies. There's a complete list. There's also lists of surety companies. There are more insurance companies under circular 750 of the Department of Treasury. These insurance companies have to be certified before they can purchase the bonds. They can't put up the bonds unless they're certified by the Secretary of Treasury. Next, you go to forms. Click here, and it goes to Miller-backed reinsurance. Lists 3 different types of bonds. You don't use bid bond in district court. These bonds come out of the GSA. The 273, 264, and 275 bond forms as follows. 273 is a reinsurance agreement with the U.S. 274 is a Miller Act reinsurance performance bond. 275 is your payment bond. The Miller Act reinsurance payment bond. What are they doing with these bonds? They have regulations governing these bonds. 2,000 pages governing these bonds. King will sell these for $15 million. If you go into these regulations, they tell you they're buying up commercial items. Actual words, 2.01 of these regulations. These regulations are divided into 50 parts. There are 11, 26 pages in Volume 1, 823 pages in Volume 2. Commercial items are non-personal property, property that is not real estate, movable property. Real estate is not movable. These terms are defined in the Uniform Commercial Code. Commercial items are commercial paper. This is the 8th edition. obviously a couple years ago. Commercial items, it's commercial paper, negotiable instruments. Anything you put your signature on is a negotiable instrument. Lex mercentoria, maybe. This is used in the courtroom because every one of us is a merchant of law. Because I use commercial paper on a day-to-day schedule, I'm considered an expert. This is why they don't tell us what's going on in the courtroom. Every time we put our signature on a paper, we're creating negotiable and non-negotiable instruments, and that makes us experts. When I endorse it under 3-419 of the UCC, I'm an accommodation party or accommodation maker. Anyone who loans a signature to another party is an accommodation party. This is in 3-419 of the UCC. When you loan your signature, then they can rewrite your signature on any document. The federal courts buy up to state court default judgments. These are civil and just being called criminal to cover up what you're doing. If you don't pay the debt, you go to prison. CUSUP is an identification system. DTC, Depository Trust Corporation, and several other monikers. Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. $1 trillion a day goes to the DCC, Government Clearing Securities. CUSUP, Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Processes, is trademarked of Standard & Poor's, and it's on the bottom floor of the building at Water Street in New York, not Washington, D.C. CUSUP SINs, CUSUP International Numbering Systems, and International Numbering System domestic securities have 6-digit numbers. International number, ISID, International Securities Identification Division Plus, or global networking system. Payne Weber with 10,000 corporations in it is a major stockholder of CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, Nashville, Tennessee. They have privatized the system. Ginnie Mae, Fannie Mae, HUD are all internationally off the prison system. Internationally, all major corporations are feeding out the prison system, including REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, PZN, Prison Trust. All real estate companies are holding bonds, and the bonds are not redeemed, and they haven't closed my account. Lehman Brothers just gave $6 billion at New York City, had a $3 billion deficit. Lehman Brothers gave NYC the money to build a credit facility, not prison system. Lehman Brothers is underwriting the prison system. The court judgments. There are international treaties that are reinsurance treaties. Insurance companies come in and act as sureties for the bid bonds, the performance. The bid and payment bonds are all surety bonds. All bid bonds must have a surety. The surety is guaranteed the reinsurance of the bid bond by issuing the performance bond. To get an underwriter, investment broker, or banker to underwrite the performance bond, which reinsures the bid bond. The underwriter takes the payment, the performance of bid bonds, and pools them into mortgage-backed securities, which are called bonds, and sold to the TBA, Bond Market Association, and actual corporation. After the payment bond is issued to reinsure or underwrite the performance bond, which reinsures the bid bond, the banks convert the bonds into investment securities. The banks are selling these as investment securities. The prisoners are funding the whole enchilada because you got a default judgment when you went into the courtroom. There are regulations governing these that are all in Title 48 Code of Federal Regulations. This is where Gene gets all the information. It's on his $50 disc. Part 12 deals with commercial items, which are negotiable instruments, which are court judgments, the performance payment, and bid bonds. Anytime you deal in bonds, you're dealing with a risk management. The reinsurer, and reinsurance means you're dealing with risk management. And the reinsurer is assuming part of the risk of the bid bond. They give them a portion of the original premium, the original issue, the policy of the bond for acting as surety for the bid bond. The underwriter guarantees the resale of the bonds back to the public as investment securities. To win in court, you have to redeem the bond. Gene went to court and asked for his bid bond. He asked for full settlement and closure of the account. Close process is hypothecation. You have to know how to hypothecate the bid bond. Banks make derivatives out of your promissory notes and sell them, mortgages, credit cards, etc. These prison bonds are being monetized. They make an investment out of it. They make a fortune off the prisoners. These bonds go international and into SINs and an annual numerical numbering association in Brussels, Belgium, with unlimited capital. This is where euro, yen, sterling, everything is under the prison system. All countries are feeding off it. This is what 9/11. This is what was behind 9/11. State legislators passed bond statutes so they can arrest people for paper terrorism. American Legislative Exchange Committee is behind all this. Paul Warwick owns this think tank. ALEC promotes privatization of the prison system. They go to the National National Congress of Commissioners, which is 72 judges and lawyers who grew up under the UCC under Lex Mercentoria. The principles of the law merchant are the rules of the decisions of all the courts. Everything is commercial. All crimes are commercial. All crime commercial. Extortion, murder, you don't close the account, you go to prison. The bond gets sold domestically and internationally. These bonds are sold on the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange. CCA, Corrections Corp. America sells their stock and shares on the NYSE. John D. Russell owns 64 million shares of CCA. John Ferguson, VP, owns 5 million shares. They're on the CCA Board of Directors. The Dillon Corrections Corp is owned by David Dillon and merged with Trinity Ventures Investment. He then became S.B. Warburg as part of the Warburg family located in Chicago, Illinois. Just reading on. You can download this report below the video in the About to Show More description box. Basically gonna skip a lot of this other detail to you can pick up and read later. Right. What does the creditor do? Pays his debt. Let's get to the post-settlement closure section. The red highlight right here says I accept the charges for value and consideration. In return, please use my exemption in principle for post-settlement and closure of case number. Then you put your case number in CUSIP and auto tris account, which is your Social Security without dashes. As this account is prepaid and exempt from levy, then dated, and place your new signature below the previous statement. And present that into court. So write it on a piece of paper and present it out or state it out loud, redeeming the bid bond. You could pause the video and read on. I'm not going to read this full report here, but the download is available. Just trying to get this video out and this information. No one's made a video yet, so here we go.